Hey y'all, my name is Becky and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you the 30-day minimalism challenge. If you don't know what that is, for 30 days you get rid of items corresponding to the day. So for day 1 you get rid of 1 item, day 2, 2 items, day 15, 15 items, and then all the way to day 30 you get rid of 30 items. In total it's 600 items. It's a lot of items. And a lot of people like to make it into a game where they kind of tag somebody or get a friend or family member to do it along with them, so that you can kind of like keep tabs on each other, support each other, but also like it can be a little bit of a competition, not just see who gets rid of more items, but just to see who sticks with it the longest. The loser might buy the winner dinner or something like that. So I did not have anybody to do it with, so I just did it by myself. And I'm going to show you the results of that. But since it was like footage covering over 30 days, I had to take some footage off my camera. I had to back it up on my computer. And when I went to go see where I put it, I haven't been able to find the first few days. So hopefully by the time I edit all this together, I can find it. I just want a disclaimer that I did get rid of items every day. Another disclaimer is that I did the items up until about day 25 and then I got really busy, and so I didn't get rid of the last large bit of items until I was into February. And I did start cheating at the end. I counted each like a pair of tapers, each pair of plugs, etc. as one item, instead of the whole kit as one. And you'll see the other bit that I kind of started cheating at the end, because you know that's a lot of items and I'm sure I could have found more items, but that would have taken some time that I just didn't have. So you'll see that in just a second. Another thing that I want to talk about was that I do live with my boyfriend and I was considering asking him to do it with me, but he's kind of already half a minimalist as it is. So he has a few collections, and I know that's not a minimalist thing to do, is collecting, but what he collects gives him a lot of joy and value, and he does look at them as investments. So in his mind, you know, there's nothing wrong, and I don't find anything wrong with it either. And he does constantly go into those collections. So for example, one of the collections is he collects cards from a card game, and he does play the card game, he does collect them, and buy, sell, trade, all of that jazz all the time. So he's constantly into that. So it's not something that he just collects and stores in a box and just like, oh well, I have them. Some items he does, but he's constantly in that collection and cycling through and enjoying his collection. But when I looked at his other aspects of his life and his things, he has a very small wardrobe. He doesn't really have a lot of items. Like he likes to play video games, but he doesn't have a lot of video games. He doesn't have a lot of decorative items around the house. He just doesn't have a lot of things, but the collections he does have do take up a lot of the amount of items he has. So I also didn't want to get him into the game because I didn't know, like I know sometimes, you know, especially with guys, if you approach them about something like, hey, let's do this together, they might take it the wrong way. He might have taken it like, what, you're saying I have too much stuff? Also, like, I know I have a lot of stuff and he knows I have a lot of stuff and he has complained about it in the past. So I didn't want him to take it as like, well, I'm not going to do it unless you do it, or like, well, you know, like if you want me to get rid of stuff, then you have to get rid of some of your stuff. I didn't want him to take it the wrong way. And outside of his collections, he doesn't really have a lot to get rid of, so I didn't really ask him to do it with me either. But by like living by example, I was doing all of the decluttering. When he would see me do the 30-day minimalism challenge, he started kind of going through his items as well. He also went through his collections and was just looking at them and being like, okay, what do I really need out of this collection? How can I kind of maybe condense the collection a little bit more? I think it actually was helpful not to ask him to do the minimalism challenge with me, because he kind of just saw the benefits of decluttering and of getting rid of a lot of stuff, that he just started doing it. And I do listen to the Minimalists podcast, and they were talking about that a lot. they said, you know, the first thing you want to do is, obviously being a minimalist, you kind of want to spread the wealth in a sense. But that's actually something that you also don't want to do. You don't want to go to all your friends and say, hey, this is what I'm doing, you should do it too. Because you're always 9 times out of 10 going to get backlash for it. So instead, you lead by example. You start showing, whether you do it intentionally or not, how great you feel after you get rid of your items, and how free you feel, and how decluttered your mind just generally is. So I also just like have experienced that with my boyfriend, just kind of like seeing like what I'm doing, what I'm accomplishing, and how much better it just can make both of us feel too, to have like less clutter around and less stuff. And you know, by only keeping the things you absolutely value or you absolutely need, how that can just change your whole world. So I just thought that was really, really neat. So without further ado, I'm going to show you the 30-day minimalism challenge. You guys are gonna have to trust me. I have 28 pieces of undergarments in here, and then I am getting rid of this bag. So then that would cover day 14 and 15. With you. It is February 9th, and I didn't do the last 5 days of the 30-day minimalism challenge in January. I got really busy. So I'm going to show you this. This is just piles of stuff that I've been throwing on here. I haven't had the chance to actually go around and try to find 26 items and then 27 items, etc. I didn't have any time to film it. So this is just a pile of stuff. I think I'm going to be able to hit the last few items for the challenge. So let's get started. Does this count for the rest of them? Alright, for the rest of the days, let's see if these books, movies, and games can get me there. Alright, this is where I'm going to start cheating a bit. Hear me out. There are 17 books here, which means I need 11 more items. So I have all these little guys that are used to stretch your ear piercings. So tapers, and these are little, I guess you could call them plugs. So it's a set of plugs with a set of tapers in the same gauge. This is 14 gauge. So I'm counting these as 2 different items, the plugs and the tapers. So then that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, because these also are 2. And then these are also tapers, but a separate pair. And this counts as item number 11 for a total of 28. I totally forgot that I had already recorded day 28 earlier in the month because I had 28 things of paint that I just recorded and just like left and figured, okay, that'll be nice if I can't find a lot of items later in the month. So I was going to have this item, which is 21 more acorns, and the holder, which I want to get rid of, for a total of 22, and then I was going to scrounge around for 8 more items, which I feel like would have been easy, but since I already had day 28 twice now, I'm going to show you day 28 from earlier this month real quick. Since I have 2 28s, 1 29, and no day 30 yet, all I'm going to really have to add is 2 more items, and I'll just count that as this. 1, and then the rest of the acorns is 2. So I feel like I totally hit the 30-day minimalism challenge. What do you guys think? You guys can judge whether or not I actually did accomplish the 30-day minimalism challenge, but I think I did. And on top of that, I do plan on decluttering in the future and getting rid of more and more. Especially as I study for other exams, I'm going to try and aim to get rid of even more books. They do give value to me. They're research materials. And honestly, in the medicine that I practice acupuncture and traditional Chinese medicine. That's slowly becoming more available information-wise on the internet, but the books that I have are still the best places to find the information that I need at times. But hopefully, throughout the rest of the year, I will slowly get rid of some of those. So that was my challenge for January. Now, into February, I am doing a no-spend month. I would love to do a no-spend year, but coming from what I used to be as a person, I used to shop a lot and just eat out a lot. The eating out was mainly because of convenience, because I was very, very busy, working a full-time job and being a full-time student. It's purely convenience, and then that turns into a habit. So I'm slowly and rather successfully starting to just cook and make my own meals. And I'm not going to say that I don't eat out because I'm choosing to do the no spend February. My boyfriend is not, and so he will frequently, about once a week it seems so far, or maybe twice a week, he will buy food and he will share it with me and insist that he buys me food. He just came home with food, so that's great. I'm only spending money on food, bills, and gas. And I'm also trying to be very frugal in those aspects too, buying cheaper versions of food, going to cheaper grocery stores, trying to, when I'm out and about, driving, because I do kind of have 3 jobs at the moment. When I'm doing a lot of driving around, I try to get as much stuff as I can done when I'm out and about, so I don't have to take extra trips places and waste gas that way. At the end of this no-spend month, I want to take whatever I have left over and try to pay off some of my bills. And I'm going to have a lot of student loans coming back where it's to the point where I almost can't afford it with just one of my jobs. So I'm trying to be as frugal as possible, and I'm trying to do a no-spend month and try to have that transfer over for as many months as I can. Now, I did cheat. This past week, I've been super, super stressed. I was in a hurry to go somewhere, so I was like, you know what? I didn't have time to make coffee. I'm gonna get coffee. and I ended up buying coffee for everybody I was working with, so I spent a good $20 on coffee. I also didn't have time to make lunch for myself for that day, so I did end up going out and purchasing food. So that day I did end up spending $30. That so far hasn't really been that great, but I do notice a difference right away. My bank account is still pretty full, and I have used it to like make extra payments for things, but in the end of the month I want to take whatever I have left over and we're trying to pay off a lot of my debt. Then once my student loans come due, I only have to really worry about rent, groceries, your typical monthly bills, gas, and then like my loans. So that's my plan. I do have other videos coming out soon relating to No Spend February. So if you're interested in any of that, if you like to see decluttering videos, check out my channel. I've got a few on there and I do have more coming at you. Make sure to subscribe and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.